Okay. Well, then, last but not least, Destiny has become the world's best-selling new franchise.
Damn. Do you have stats for that?
It made $325 million worldwide in its first 5 days.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
It's pretty intense.
That's just straight up sales, right?
That's just sales, yeah.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's killing it right now.
God, man, video games, just getting these freaking outrageous sums of money is just so crazy.
They make more money. The video game industry makes more money than the movie industry.
Which is wild.
Every year.
Yeah. I think that has a certain amount to do with the ability for you to be able to interact with it at your heart's desire.
And the cost.
Yeah.
Like $60 a pop.
Right, yeah.
You know?
There's art where you can see it and be like, oh, that was really interesting. And then there's art where you can play it and be it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's more fun.
Lose yourself in it.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I'm sure, everyone knows that Chase likes games. And therefore, Chase has been playing Destiny a lot. You dabble.
Not as much as I wish I could.
Yeah, but you still have been, I've been watching you play, dude. It's pretty fun. You have anything you want to talk about?
Yeah, I've probably put 5 hours into it. And I do kind of want to just air my first impressions out there for maybe anybody who hasn't played it or is just curious.
And I'll give a third perspective from a third-person perspective.
Well, when I was first telling you, when I first started playing it, I was a tad unimpressed. The gameplay was just shooting gameplay. I thought that Peter Dinklage's performance as your ghost companion was a little flat, and I didn't really know what I was getting into. That being said, it's definitely turned around in a big way for me. The things that I really enjoy about it now, when it comes to gameplay, it has this feeling of quick fluidity where you can pretty much be anywhere on the map in a pretty quick amount of time. There's so much verticality.
Which is dope.
And Bungie has always done an amazing job at map design and map creation.
I agree.
And they know that this verticality was going to be a part of it. And so even though you have these large-scale maps where little bitty encounters can happen everywhere, it seems everywhere on the map there's at least 4 or 5 different ways to tackle whatever's coming up against you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is really fun.
Yeah. It livens it up.
The game is gorgeous. The graphics are amazing. More importantly, though, the skyboxes. When you just stare up into the sky and look at space and the planets around you, it is breathtaking.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a word that has lost its meaning throughout the years, but not seriously. It's great.
It's incredible.
And then, of course, you have the music. And I
know you like the music.
Yeah. Right? And when the fighting is starting, it does a great job at kind of pushing you forward and getting your energy going.
So it's building the timpanis and stuff in the back.
Yeah, and then when that's done, it does a great job at mellowing out and creating a really good mood to just go explore it. Yeah. Love all that. It has a perfect combination in my eyes between science. It's a perfect sci-fi game. It has a lot of fantasy in it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, sci-fi and fantasy combined.
Right, yeah.
One of my favorite things about it is that it takes old RPG tropes and builds on them while respecting them.
Correct.
So you have games for years now where you fight just the basic enemy types are goblins and stuff like that.
Hobgoblins.
And all of those names are still in this game, except instead of them being green little ghoulies, they're crazy robots.
Yeah.
And the robots are called Goblin, Hobgoblin, Minotaur, and things like that. And it's really cool that they're able to sort of take used
archaic
archetypes and redefine them in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. And then when I see them, I just smile. I'm oh, this is your Goblin. Right. This is your version of the guy of the fodder that I'm going to run through.
Yeah, that's
which
crazy.
I think is really cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Now here comes the downsides.
Okay.
And I'm also going to echo, I've been reading a lot of reviews that are finally coming out on the game, and I agree with a lot of what's been said, but this is also sort of the basic sentiment around there.
Okay.
This game was so ambitious and tried to be so many things that it's starting to kind of fall flat in certain areas because they're not able to wholeheartedly direct all their attention into one facet because they're trying to do all of it.
Yeah.
So when it was first pitched, it was going to be this grand open world shared shooting experience.
Okay.
And I feel it's not exactly as open world as we would have liked. I would kind of describe it as maybe an open area game.
Okay.
Where you can sort of dive into these really big areas that are definitely detailed, but they're still the same areas every time.
It's just a huge map.
Yeah, it's just a giant map.
Yeah.
The RPG elements and the loot system, which the loot system is...
I thought you kind of liked that.
It has some smart things about it where when you become a level 20, you don't gain experience by killing people anymore. You gain experience from getting loot, which gives you incentives not to just go out and kill people, but to go out and finish missions.
Kill the right people.
Yeah, and adds to the game's longevity, which I think is really smart.
Yes.
But at the same time, I feel like the loot, the little bitty perks that come with each piece of armor don't differentiate themselves enough to really create this like outstanding, these vastly different characters.
Yes.
I think the 3 classes generally play almost the same, where they only have they have 2 different supers, but they can every class can use any gun they want and still be proficient in it, and there's really not much differentiation there.
So you'd like to have more clear-cut lines between the different types of characters in the game, and the loot system reinforcing those differences?
Yeah, and the loot is slow to where you're not really getting too much until level 11 to 13, so it's kind of like a really slow build, and which is a little takes the breath out of you. The multiplayer component is definitely fun. I'm really enjoying it. The maps are great because Bungie has a history of great map design. Yes. But the biggest gripe I have, and one of the biggest ones on the internet, is the storyline. The storyline, there's only a couple cutscenes. And granted...
That's not Bungie.
Every cutscene I've watched is amazing. I really like them because, like I told you, I think there's this melodramatic feel to them.
Right.
Where, to me, it reminds me of Lord of the Rings. Where it's these super... heavy emotions that almost seem unwarranted,
right?
But they still work because of it.
There.
Yeah, which is
still lingering,
which is kind of cool. But I've realized that all of the narrative is either just told to you at the beginning or into the mission, or is just sort of said in the tower area. It's just you don't really know what's going on, and it's sort of bland. But the cutscenes are cool. But to finish it all up, last but not least, the gameplay is excellent.
Yes,
playing it is a joy. And on top of that, when I played Diablo, I didn't even care about the story. I would skip story missions just so I could get right back into the game so I could keep killing people.
Right.
And the story might fall flat a little bit, which is a real disappointment considering how Bungie revolutionized storytelling in first-person shooters, because it was pretty much non-existent until Halo.
I agree.
But once I'm done watching the lackluster storytelling, I just get right back into killing people. It's a blast,
Well, awesome, man. If you could put a number on it, what would you put it?
I'm not going to yet. I need to keep playing.
He's rejected.
I'm feeling at about a 7 right now.
My numbering system. We're about to go to a break. I'm going to give a little 1-minute excerpt.
Go ahead.
Of my third person perspective.
Oh, yeah. You've been watching me play.
Yes, I have. I agree that the map design is awesome. Even stuff just like the shadowing and stuff and the lighting.
The art design's incredible.
Yes, it's awesome. And it's I can watch that game and just look at the map and the different places that Chase is going, and it's that in and of itself is an experience. It's cool. Also, I also like the villains and stuff, and how there are different kind of ways that you approach. The fact that some of the villains that he has to go against, most of them are headshots that are the one-hit kills, and then they change the position on the headshots for people, which is pretty cool. Some people's headshots is in their stomach, it really changes up how you play the game.
It's great gameplay technique that makes you relearn muscle memory, and it keeps the game interesting.
I also love the verticality and the movement abilities of the people, the fact that you have the double jump. And
which is such a great classic video game trope.
Yeah,
and they know that they're a video game, and they really just accept that.
Yeah. So I was a little worried whenever I first started watching you play it that it was just going to be a souped-up Halo, and I still am a little bit kind of like that.
Yeah.
But overall, I think that they did a good job of differentiating themselves. I think that they had a lot of the same kind of visions in mind as when they were approaching Halo, but I think that they adequately used the technology at their disposal and their understanding of the RPGs and just being able to develop a game that could stand on its own instead of just be another Bungie game.
Yep. I think the one thing that's going to, what time will tell about this game is if it's a Titanfall kind of thing where it came out, everyone consumed it for 3 weeks and moved on. if this game sticks around for like 6 months, 7 months, and
Could be
is
a big
still what
deal.
people are playing, then you know that it has the legs. So we'll see if maybe once the next big game comes out, if people put it down,
Yeah.
that'll be the true test.
Okay. All right. You want to go to a break?